Pastor Dan, having coffee with my friend Joshua Olmos. Josh, thanks for showing up with us and
Thank
breaking
you.
social distancing. What's the Kleenex? I feel like monk nowadays. Yeah, Josh has helped me quite a bit. He's encouraged me to get my book edited. He's helped me get into podcasts. He's helped me to get into video. He's a great source of encouragement and a resource that we value very much. And we highly recommend Josh for entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
We're ministry partners, Almost Ministries, Everlasting Hope's under them. And he has Faith Through Love and Day by Day Solutions.
Yes, sir.
So, Josh, you want to go ahead and just kind of share a little bit about yourself real quick?
Sure. My name is Joshua Olmos, and I would categorize myself as a Christian entrepreneur. We have Olmos Ministries, which is an evangelistic outreach type ministry, a resource for born-again believers. And then we have Day by Day Solutions, and that is a resource for Christian entrepreneurs, businessmen, whether it be with social media or just startups or solopreneurs. So trying to do it the biblical way, the way God says to do it. And we've had a lot of fun, and God has been so good to us, and so happy to partner with Pastor Dan and be able to see how all of these things have kind of grown, and we've been able to grow together and learn from each other. And just the journey that God's been having us on has been amazing and amazingly fun.
Well, I would probably have given up ministry this last year. Josh sat there and held my hand through a time of wondering what I'm supposed to really be doing. So I appreciate Josh very much. Josh, I really appreciate the fact that you look at breaking out of the theory lecture profession, that we're professors, but that you're looking at how do you apply that. You want to share a little bit more about that?
Sure, yeah. So I'm from Southern California and San Diego. San Diego, LA, there was a lot going on when I was a kid. I was raised in the early 90s, late 80s down there. And there was a lot of things happening. So I tried a lot of things. I kind of tried a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And one thing that I found was a lot of times the things that were being said and the things that were being advised were really theory. And when you went and did them, you fell flat, you couldn't do it, it was really hard. They didn't tell you the back end. All of a sudden, then when the internet really took off, there was just a whole lot of theory. And so, I built a company with a friend of mine, and then I went to college and went to business school and realized, man, a lot of the stuff that they're teaching here, it sounds great and it sounds amazing, but it doesn't work in the real world.
Amen. Understand that?
And so I really felt like it was time, even as Christians and in the church, and just leading by example and saying, you know what? No theory, just action and truth. And so because of that, I've modeled everything, the ministry, the business, by making sure that what we say and what we do and the way we live and what we're telling people is truth. And obviously we know that the gospel of the Bible, the word of God, is truth. And so we need to be lining up to that and not just people's theory or creating our own experiences as doctrine. And so with all of that, I really believe that when you can go around and show people, not just pontificate what to be done and how to do it, but actually help someone through it and actually show them real results, that it will change a life. And so, yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of the lecturing and the just theorizing that this sounds good and it may work and it could do this. And it's like, well, yeah, if you had a lot of money, all my followers would think if I had $1 million and I'd be fine, right? It's like, yeah, we just start this and we can start that and we can do that. And it's like, well, we don't have that. So
and over 90% of the theory would still go out the window.
Exactly.
Really, there's 10% probably of theory that's valid.
Right.
But like you, I took a lot of business stuff and very little of the book of man translates into the real world. Only the book of God really translates well into our lives. So I think part of our problem in the ministry and in the church for generations, we've made theoretical Christians,
right,
and cliche Christians and opinionated Christians, but not really true disciples that know how to apply what Jesus taught them. So
exactly.
And I really appreciate that you've got that foundation mindset.
Oh, thank you.
Everything that we're going to do isn't going to be based on theory. it's going to be based on the Word of God, and this is how you do it. And I think Jesus modeled that. Josh often talks about Jesus showed the disciples. So
Right.
it's that process, I think, that we have to get out of that mindset that we learned in Bible school.
Right.
And, they taught us our 3.5 point sermons.
Yeah.
And then our people still never matured in Christ.
Right.
Because there was no practical, how do I really apply that, Pastor? So the other thing Josh started speaking on and just touched my heart and lit the flame was, falling in love with Jesus again.
Right.
And I just love to hear him talk about that. So, Josh.
Thanks. Yeah, so I really believe that, falling in love with Jesus is the foundation. And without that, this whole world is, to be honest with you, it kind of sucks. It's really hard. I didn't have the best upbringing. And to be honest with you, if I wouldn't have really surrendered my life and fallen in love with Jesus, my life would have looked completely different. I would have probably been incarcerated and been in prison for the rest of my life, and I probably would have just been hating and been stressful. But, before I surrendered my life to Christ, I followed something that I like to call the ghetto gospel, where it was, I knew God and I respected God, but he was over there and I did my thing and he did his thing. And when I was in his house, I prayed and we put some money in the offering bucket. But when I went outside, I did my thing and I did it the way I felt. I knew to do it best. And so once I figured out that, trying to do good and trying to follow the Bible and trying to follow all the laws was just way too hard for me to do on my own, I kind of gave up. I was like, I don't want to do this. It's way too hard. And so it took a few years until one day I just came to my wit's end and I said, I really believe that either I'm going to be all the way bad or I'm going to follow completely what God says and just surrender everything, because this in between, this in the middle, this little bit of the word and a little bit of the world is making me lukewarm and stressing me out. Like, it's too hard to do. Exactly. It's just way too much. And so one night I literally just went to the Lord and said, by myself, just completely surrendered and said, if you're for real, I'm for real. If you're really out there, I will surrender everything. I will do everything. And you know what? He changed my life. And it was really the goodness of God that led me to repentance. It was just so much of his mercy and grace and so much of peace in my life that I didn't understand and I didn't deserve. And that changed everything for me. And so sometimes I think that we try to be a good person. I think sometimes we try to put in biblical principles and do all this stuff our own way, ourselves, and taking a little bit of the world's knowledge and trying to figure out how to do this. And all of a sudden, we're just stressed and we're back to square one and we don't understand why we're repeating these cycles and why we have these things. And, I liken it to falling in love with my wife. When I fell in love with my wife, no one can tell me anything different. People told me that I was crazy. People told me that you shouldn't do this and you should have this set up and all of this. And I didn't care. I just wanted to be by her and I just wanted to be around her and wanted to talk to her. And when I knew that I could do things that brought her joy and when I could do things that really made her happy and helped her out, I just wanted to do them. They weren't a burden for me. They weren't stressful. It wasn't hard. And I think we forget that part. I'm not a Christian to make my way, my path smooth and to make my way easy and to do all this stuff. I'm a Christian because I fell in love with Jesus.
Right.
And so I just want to be around him all the time. And I just want to do things that bring joy to him. And I just want to do things that make him happy. And that's a whole different lifestyle than trying to abide by all these things and be a good person.
Religion will kill.
Exactly.
Jesus said that to her. He says, come on to me, all you heavy laden burden, I'll give you rest. And that's that relationship. When you fall in love, it's a lot easier.
Yes.
To do what he's asking of us. It's out of love we can do it. That empowers us. We forget that that's the power of God.
Right.
He is love. And when we try to do it in ourselves, we can't. Jesus said, in yourself you can do nothing. You must abide in me. And that's that abiding peace, that abiding love, I really believe. I got shotgun married with Jesus. I didn't want to go to hell, so I said, I'll be engaged to you, Jesus. I don't want to go to hell. I don't like this. Rules and regulations. It was rough. But like I say, when you fall in love with Jesus, it changes. And from that moment on, the burden is easy and the yoke is light.
Exactly.
There's a burden. There's a yoke. So we're going to stop for a moment and we're going to come back with part 2. Again, this is Pastor Dan with my friend Josh Olmos. Lord bless you. Have a good day.
Bye.